Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Mark Essick. I'm the Sheriff of Sonoma County. Here to give you an update on the current situation in regards to the Russian River flooding. This morning at 11 a.m., we saw the Russian River at 32 feet, which is flood stage, and it continues to drop, and we continue to see water receding. Earlier today, I lifted the mandatory evacuation order for the lower Russian River, and we are now beginning the process of repopulating the area of Guerneville. During our disaster response, approximately 2,600 properties were flooded, with 3,700 people under evacuation order. Those orders also extended to as far north as Asti, near Cloverdale, and as far west as Jenner. Currently, the area is open to the public and open to residents. However, we're asking the public to stay out of the area unless they're absolutely necessary to be in the Guerneville area. We still have emergency crews, PG&E, and other service providers ensuring that the roads are safe and beginning the cleanup process. The Sheriff's Office has extra deputies in the area. Since the beginning of this crisis, the Sheriff's Office has had at least 25 deputies in the Guerneville area to support the residents, to provide protection against looting, and to give the residents direction during this really difficult time. We've been supported by the California Highway Patrol and the National Guard, and we're very grateful for their assistance. And I'm happy to report that we've had no fatalities and no serious injuries. We're happy that many residents heeded the warning and evacuated early, and we attribute the early evacuations, to the public safety. We're asking returning residents and area residents to follow the health and safety instructions that we've put out through NICSL and our other public health safety partners. There are numerous hazards still in the area, and we want the public to be careful, and we want them to be aware of those hazards. Again, please do not come to the flooded. Please be respectful that many of our friends, family, and business owners are going through a very difficult time in the cleanup. This is not the time for tourism. This is the time to assist our friends. I spent a little time out in Guerneville today, and I have to tell you that I was amazed by the community coming together. I saw friends, family members, business owners helping each other. They were removing debris, they were beginning the cleanup process, and I had a chance to talk to a few of them. It absolutely touches my heart that like the October fires, we have this community outpouring of support, neighbor helping neighbor, friend helping friend. That is what Sonoma County is all about, and I'm proud to be part of Sonoma County. Finally, I want to thank you for your patience. The public has been very patient in working with the Sheriff's Office and our partners to ensure safety and to ensure that we can get people back to their homes and businesses as quickly as possible. The Sheriff's Office has always been there for you. We're going to continue to be there for you. If you need us, please call. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christopher Godley, Director of Emergency Management for the County of Sonoma. First, I'd like to start by thanking the more than a dozen state and federal agencies that have rushed to Sonoma County's aid during this event. It's been an extraordinary amount of teamwork necessary to really expedite and make sure that our residents are safe, not just during that response, but also as we move into recovery. A few key items in terms of damage assessments. Right now, we're moving into the phase where we're looking at how hard have we been hit, not just along the lower Russian River area, but throughout the County of Sonoma. We've seen flooding effects impact communities, and our goal is to make sure we've got a good catalog of what those damages are, both in terms of the extent of impact in the community and potentially what the financial impacts might end up being. Permit Sonoma staff are actually physically in the area today. First of 30 teams are moving in, and they're conducting assessments of about 2,600 homes that we believe may have been impacted by floodwaters throughout the county. The assessments are going to continue throughout the weekend, and they're there to determine if the facility, like a house or a business, is safe to be re-entered. And this is where you'll see the famous green, yellow, and red tags advising owners and residents about the safety of the building that they're about to enter. We certainly recommend to residents and business owners that they wait for those assessments to be conducted if their building or their structure has been affected by floodwaters. We recommend, again, the assessments being conducted before you enter the building. In terms of reentry, as the sheriff indicated, people are coming back into the area to survey the damage. In many places, they're actually going to start work to help clean up their homes and businesses. To that end, we're working with volunteer groups and community-based organizations like the American Red Cross to make sure that's done in a safe manner. This includes the provision of free cleanup kits that are being distributed by the American Red Cross at the 3 locations that the county is also providing bottled water and portable sanitation facilities. The Red Cross cleanup kits actually include a bucket, rags, mop, broom, cleaning solution, and leather gloves. These kits can be picked up from Friday, March 1st, today, through Sunday, March 3rd, at 3 locations between 8 and 5. In Guerneville, at Guerneville Park and Ride at Highway 116, Forestville at the Mirabel Park and Ride, Mirabel at River Road, and Monterey at the Monterey Community Center. In terms of debris, at this time we're asking residents to not dump debris in the roadways. We are developing and setting up a mechanism by which we'll be able to collect and process flood-related debris. And I will not, or the county will not be accepting hazardous materials waste like household chemicals or propane tanks at these locations. The state of California is going to assist us in collecting and processing these hazardous materials appropriately. And finally, for residents in the impacted areas, the county is establishing, in partnership again with state and federal stakeholders as well as community groups, a local assistance center, or LAC, a LAC, which will be established in and around the town of Guerneville sometime early this weekend. The LAC Center is designed to serve as a one-stop shop where people can go to access information as well as identify resources that might help them and recover their homes or even their businesses. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Linda Hopkins, and I'm the 5th District Supervisor. I represent both the Lower Russian River as well as the city of Sebastopol. A lot of people have asked me what they can do to help our communities recover. So I have 2 answers. First of all, hold tight for now, but in a couple of weeks, we would really appreciate it if you came out and supported our local businesses. Our local business community was hit very, very hard by this tragedy, by this disaster. And so come out and have some dinner, have some lunch, have some breakfast, and buy things from our local shops. Number 2, this is a big cleanup effort that we will be undertaking. Starting not this weekend, but the following weekend, we will have nonprofit organizations, including the Clean River Alliance, who will be leading watershed cleanup efforts. So we will be entertaining volunteers to help come up and clean up our watershed. Thank you very much.
Good afternoon. I'm Mark Ghilarducci. I'm Director of Governor Newsom's Office of Emergency Services in the state of California. First, let me just start off by saying how unbelievably impressed we are at the way the county and all of the residents have come together during this flood event. It really speaks to the tremendous community engagement that everyone has. And as you've heard from both the sheriff and the emergency management director and the supervisor, very, very well coordinated and laid out strategy of moving forward. Yesterday, the governor declared a state of emergency, and of course that opened up additional support that the state of California will provide Sonoma County and throughout the course of the recovery operations. That's in addition to what the state's already provided. You've heard the sheriff talk about the National Guard and the Highway Patrol and a number of other assets that have been here through the entirety and will remain engaged with all of the county in the coming days. One of the big things that we're doing now is working with the county in a damage assessment. The damage assessment is going to be very important, and as a partner of that, we've reached out and partnered with the folks at the Federal Emergency Management Agency, FEMA. FEMA is here with us today, and they're going to be working with us in the county to do the damage assessment in the coming days so that we can get a good assessment as to whether or not this particular event does raise to the level of federal assistance. In the interim, you heard Chris talk about the local assistance center. Once that gets established, I encourage all the folks that have been impacted by this event to go to the local assistance center, because there will be local and state agencies, non-governmental nonprofits that will be there that could provide immediate assistance to individuals who have had lost critical records, lost critical documents, and help with everything from taxes to individual losses of personal items. So that's the first step in that process, to go to the local assistance center. And then in the coming days, as we learn more, there will be additional assistance programs that will be announced. So as we stay engaged with the county, all the agencies you see behind me will continue to be fully engaged as we move forward. So with that, I think it's next. Congressman Thompson.
I'm Mike Thompson. Along with Jared Huffman, I represent Sonoma County. And on behalf of myself and Congressman Huffman, I want everyone to know that we're very, very thankful for our partnership that we have with state and local and with the communities. Everybody's done a fantastic job. It's sad that we have to go back through another emergency, but it is what it is, and everybody's performing remarkably well. And I want you to note the federal government will do everything we possibly can to assist in taking care of this emergency, the cleanup, and everything possible to get everybody made whole. Thank you very much.
I'm Assemblymember Jim Wood. I represent a large part of the area that's been impacted by this flooding, and I will say I'm extremely grateful to our federal partners and the state and the quick response and the massive force that have come to help us out here. I would just ask that people, as we heard from the county earlier, please stay away from this area unless you absolutely have to be there. While we haven't had a loss of life, we have had significant loss of property, and people need the opportunity to be able to go through their homes and deal with some of the challenges that they're going to face. This is a really serious issue for a lot of folks, so please, you don't have to be here. Please stay away. And be cognizant of the weather. We're going to have potential weather event that might cause the water to rise again, so we're not completely out of the woods here. So, but please be respectful of those who've had losses, and very grateful to our state and federal partners. The county's done an amazing job here, so thank you.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us. We are very grateful. Right after I'm finished speaking, we're going to open it up for questions and or comments from all of you. My name is Mike McGuire. I represent the West Sonoma County area along up to the Oregon border in the state Senate. From day one of this event, the state of California has been actively engaged on this issue. We want to take a moment to say thank you to Governor Newsom for declaring a disaster emergency here along with in Sonoma County, Lake County, as well as Mendocino County. That declaration will ensure that we are going to have expedient service when it comes to recovery services, as well as financial aid coming into the counties of Sonoma, Lake, and Mendocino. We are all just coming out of a comprehensive briefing, and I want to say thank you to Sheriff Mark Essick, as well as the County Office of Emergency Services. They have been focused on all issues of restoring power to sewer plants, water plants, from Cloverdale all the way out to the Russian River area. Good news to report, many are coming back online, but we will have some residual problems here in the coming days and potentially in the coming weeks. I also want to take a moment to say thank you to the Office of Emergency Services as well as FEMA. Director Garaducci has spent a lot of time here over the last 24 months. Sonoma County is still reeling, recovering and rebuilding from the worst wildland fire disaster in our state history here in the four-county region. And I want to say thank you to the Director as well as the Office of Emergency Services who remain active and engaged, delivering for those who have been struggling to rebuild from the fire and now are going to be rebuilding from these floods. At this time, we'd like to be able to open it up for any questions or comments for any of the individuals who have spoken. Any questions or comments for folks? And please, Mr. Thomas. Great question. The question is, who's taking the lead? We're going to turn it over to Chris Godley, who is in the lead for the County of Sonoma, Director Garaducci, who is also the lead for the state of California.
The question was, who's going to lead this response? It's going to be the community. Government is here to facilitate that. Our job in the County Department of Emergency Management and the County Board of Supervisors is help to lead the organization that allows the community to come together and maximize the capabilities of local, state, and federal agencies. It's a real alphabet soup in terms of all the government agencies that are participating. It's the facilitation, the integration of those abilities. That's what's going to be the the big payoff. I can tell you right now the county is significantly committed to this effort, not just through the County Department of Emergency Management and the Sheriff's Department, but just about every county department is now mobilizing staff and resources to support what's going on in the unincorporated areas and make sure we maintain and coordinate well with our incorporated city, special district, and community-based partners.
I mean, just really to add to Chris's comment, this is a local event. The state of California is here to support as necessary and provide technical assistance and funding and other kinds of support as necessary. My office at the state level will be the primary state agency that will be leading that with all the other state agencies. They'll be the conduit to FEMA in the event that it does raise to a federal disaster. Yeah.
It's not the first time we've covered flooding in Burnville. What's being done to prevent this in the future?
Yeah, it's a good question. You want to talk about that, Chris? Future prevention? And what's been done?
So the question is what's being done to prevent this type of flooding in the future? And there are several activities that are currently underway. I personally worked the floods in 1995, 1997, and 1998. And to that end, the county's invested since 1995 in hazard mitigation programs. These are programs that are designed to prevent damages to flooding or from flooding into structures. This would include elevation of homes. So in the years since 1995, we've elevated almost 240 homes along the Russian River. So this year, when that area flooded, that was that bottom story that was uninhabited that took all the water. The residential occupied living space was not impacted, nor were the electrical systems. So that's a true success story for us. We've really actually reduced the number of homes that have flooded in this flood due to our activities in the past. In Sebastopol, as we develop buildings like the Barlow, we mitigate those activities as best we can by designing these facilities to withstand the flood effects. By building in a berm around the city of Santa Rosa's sewage treatment plant some 15 years ago, they were able to withstand the backup of the Laguna, and they did not flood this year. So there are lessons to be learned, but the community does need to take part and ensure that as we develop and build our communities, our infrastructure, that we're keeping not in mind only the historical flood performance, but what climate change may also bring to us. And so as part of our county long-term hazard mitigation planning efforts and our long-term general plan efforts, we're designing these communities and building them so they can withstand the effects of not only what's occurred in the past, but what may come our way in the future.
So are you saying there's no sewage at all on that?
The question was, is there no sewage at all that flowed into this event? What happened was in Cloverdale, it got close to spilling. It did not. In Healdsburg, the plant shut down temporarily. It filled up its ponds but did not spill. In the city of Santa Rosa, they saw 5 times the normal amount of winter runoff into their sewage treatment plant. They had to expedite and conduct emergency treatment, but no untreated sewage was released during this event. Only treated sewage was released into the Laguna.
The utility, which is seems to be a luxury, but now is a life-saving tool, cell service, is very, very spotty, even around here. What can be done about that? With the muscle of the government to help get this in.
So the question was, what about cell service, which is now increasingly more an important kind of a lifeline or a critical essential service? What can we do about the spotty coverage? Well, of course, all cell phone coverage is essentially a commercial product. We have commercial vendors in the area that provide service based on what people want to see. Here in in Guerneville, in response to this event, we're expediting the delivery of a portable cellular tower that will handle the increased traffic that we expect to see over the next few days and weeks. And the county's also investing heavily through leadership through the Board of Supervisors and the Economic Development Board by increasing the potential for bringing broadband wireless into rural areas like we see here in West County. Thank you. So I'd open it up to anybody else that wants to address this, but the question is what about people that are coming back home to a flooded flooded building. How are they going to receive assistance? At this time, that is our goal, is to make sure first they can access their homes safely, that the road is clear, there are no dangerous conditions like downed wires or trees, that when they get to their home, they can access hopefully not only the cleanup buckets and such that are being provided by the American Red Cross, but via the local assistance center, we want to connect them not only with governmental services, but community-based organizations that are already in the community, where there's a level of trust that they can tap into. And that might include the ability to leverage volunteers to help those that might not be able to take care of their own property and challenges by themselves. We hope to have definitive services and programs when we open the local assistance center that people can touch right on and get right into those programs. I don't know if anybody else wanted to add anything related to that? Okay. Okay, I'm going to stay up here all day. More rain in the forecast was a question. That is correct. We're looking at a small cold front coming through, even as we talk today, this weekend, maybe perhaps 1 inch to 2 inches in some locations. That will be enough to compromise and make more challenging the recovery and the cleanup process, but we do not expect to see the river rise as a result of that. We do not expect to see it come back out of its banks. And the atmospheric river that was referred to earlier, we expect to see that on Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, our hope is at this point that the trend continues and the storm heads well south of us to southern and central California coast. We might see a little bit of that rain, perhaps 2, even 3 inches, but even that much rain so far out from now will not be enough to raise the flood levels on the river. Thank you.
Yesterday you said that even today that the assessment of damages, especially for the city of Guerneville, will take the time. But like, do we have any estimate or anything that you can?
So the question was, how long will it take to actually conduct the damage assessments in and around the county? Those assessments, safety assessments, are starting today. The actual tallying of the damages will actually begin tomorrow. That's going to extend for 2-3 days at least. However, I will tell you we're going to have to coordinate what we call the formal preliminary damage assessment process with our state and federal partners. I don't have an exact time frame for when that will be conducted, but it's days, it's not weeks. Okay, thank you.
We have time for 2 more questions. Any additional questions for either our state or federal representatives? We're very grateful that you all came out. You'll see additional updates coming from the California Office of Emergency Services, the County of Sonoma, and the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office. Thank you for joining us today.